Yhorm the Giant was the descendant of an ancient conqueror, but was asked by the very people once subjugated to lead them, serving both as a weighty blade and a stone hard shield. Those very people recognized Yhorm's talents as a leader, as a fighter, and as a protector. And in spite of being conquered by Yhorm's ancestor, they had faith in him. Yhorm became known as the reclusive lord of the Profaned Capital. Perhaps Yhorm wanted to be a lord the people deserved, or perhaps he agreed to lead because among those people there was one he deeply cared about. Perhaps it was a bit of both. As a lord, Yhorm risked everything and fought as a one-man vanguard. Following the loss of the one he wished to protect, he forsook his shield. In its place, a left-hand notch was added to his machete, enabling the smashing technique that would become the legacy of his later years. After losing the one he cared about, Yhorm changed. He became reckless, aggressive, unconcerned about his own safety and that of his people. A far cry from the leader he once was. The populace noticed, rumors spread. Yhorm was no longer a weighty blade and a stone-hard shield. He was now a great leader only in title, and Yhorm knew full well that those who spoke of him as lord were quite insincere. The exact origins of the Profaned Flame remain a mystery. It is, however, known that the Profaned Flame was triggered by the curse of women, relatives of a certain oracle, who despite their culpability, went on living without any cares. Moreover, the Profaned Flame could swallow hearts and lead people to take pleasure in wounding others. Some say the Profaned Flame made the Lacerda plague look like the Trident dance. Perhaps seeing this as a chance to redeem himself and to protect his people, lonely Yhorm became a Lord of Cinder to put the Profaned Flame to rest. Not to extinguish the flame, or put it out, but put it to rest, as if the flame was a personification of someone dear to him. What took Yhorm this long to rid his people of the flame which was triggered by a curse? Perhaps the flame had a connection to the one Yhorm tried to protect, and thus the flame gave him some semblance of comfort. Perhaps Yhorm wanted the flame to blaze forever. Ultimately, though, Yhorm realized that whoever he cared about was gone, and so was the respect of his people. It was time for him to do his last selfless act, as a great leader and lord he once was, and put the Profaned Flame to rest. Yhorm had two great swords, the Storm Rulers. Known as giant slayers, the swords contained residual strength of storm that brought giants to their knees. Perhaps as proof that he reverted back to the lord his people trusted, who even in death wanted to look out for them. Yhorm gave one Storm Ruler to the humans who doubted him, and left the other to a dear friend before facing his fate as Lord of Cinder. Even Yhorm could not have anticipated what followed. The Profaned Capital was consumed by fire after Yhorm the Giant became a Lord of Cinder. The fire, born of the sky, is said to have incinerated naught but human flesh. The Profaned Flame lived on. The capital reeked of death. One could stumble upon the Profane Call, remnants of the fire that burned down the Profaned Capital, preserved in an icy skull. Did the flame which came from the sky leave a layer of ice on everything? Who knows? Bringing the Profaned Coal to Andre the blacksmith allowed use of gems for dark, blood, and hollow infusions. He would, however, caution you as he saw the abyss in the coal. Lord Volnir of Carthus sentenced countless souls to gruesome death, keen to outlive them all. Volnir was a great conqueror. He brought lords to their knees and ground their crowns to dust. The crowns became one, and Volnir the One High Lord. Naturally, he got involved with the abyss where he discovered the Black Flame. Volnir was, however, gripped by a fear of true darkness and pleaded to the gods for the first time. The Holy Sword, together with 3 armlets stripped from the corpses of clerics, gave him some semblance of comfort. But in the end, like countless others, Valnir fell to the abyss. Sometime later, the black flame was discovered by grave wardens and inspired their black arts. Where does this leave us? On the one hand, if we assume that the flame born of the sky, which incinerated naught but human flesh, is the profaned flame, we can then assume that the coal found in the icy skull comes from the profaned flame as well. That coal gives us use of blood, hollow and dark infusion. Andrei tells us that he sees abyss in the coal. With all that, we could conclude that the profaned flame and the black flame Valnir found in the abyss are one and the same. Maybe by trying to put the profaned flame to rest, Yhorm triggered some sort of an abyss defense mechanism, and the flame burned down the capital. Interestingly enough, in the first Dark Souls, New Londo was flooded to prevent the spread of the abyss. Maybe burning down the capital was the abyss retaliating. On the other hand, unlike the black flame, the profaned flame does not seem to deal dark damage. So maybe the coal left by the fire born of the sky was unrelated to the profaned flame. Maybe the fire born of the sky emanated from the black flame Valnir found in the abyss. Although the black flame and the profaned flame may be different, they could still be connected somehow. Perhaps when Yhorm tried to put the profaned flame to rest, it triggered the black flame to react. After all, the Black Serpent Pyromancy states, "Be it sorcery or pyromancy, all techniques that infringe on humanity lead to the same place. That is to say, they all seek a will of their own." Could this mean that the flames have a will of their own? Maybe Yhorm caused some sort of volcanic eruption which targeted the Profaned Capital all the way from the catacombs of Carthus. Perhaps the black flame was trying to protect the profaned flame, and thus burned all humans to the ground, leaving nothing but coal in their icy skulls. On an unrelated note, Carthus sounds a lot like Carthage. Carthage was the capital city of the ancient Carthaginian civilization. While trying to look for a connection between Carthage and fire, I stumbled upon Dido. Dido was the founder and the first queen of Carthage. Hers was a story of love, which ended in tragedy and suicide. Dido killed herself by climbing on a fire and stabbing herself with a sword. Perhaps had our reality collided with that of Dark Souls, Dido's ashes, surrounded by burning amber and sparks, impaled with a sword, could have given rise to a bonfire or a profaned flame.